Welcome to Ascend You, the show that teaches you how to get the most out of life so you can confidently step into who you were meant to become and claim a life full of passion and purpose. I am your host, Kimberly Shukla, psychologist, life and empowerment coach. I'm also the founder of DivinityMagazine.com and Divine Productions TV. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the cancer of human relationships. I'm talking about relationships in general and the way we relate to each other and how it's affecting us as a collective. Who have we become as a whole? We're going to start breaking down society's paradigms that keep us all separate from one another so we can start becoming one unified family again. But first, hit it! What we're seeing in the outside world in our everyday lives is people who have this idea of entitlement. The world and people around them owe them something. Everything should be handed to them. People who only work as much as required of them. They won't work 1 minute past clock out time. They won't give more than what's expected of them in effort. People who see themselves as if they're in competition with everyone. It's a mindset of me against you. I'm right and you're wrong. Selfish. There's a group as well that seems to think that degrees in education give them some right to treat others like they're beneath them. You are nothing if you don't have a master's degree. They see that piece of paper as some declaration of success and entitlement. In reality, it means nothing. The wealthiest people in the world are not the degree holders. They are the idea makers. The ones who create the ideas and have the intelligence to pull groups of people together to bring that idea to fruition. Those are the people who earn the most money. They are the people earning over $1 million a year. The degree holders are the people who are earning an average of $100,000 a year and are still struggling to make ends meet. Yet they have this idea that they are entitled to something, that people should bow down and recognize them because they hold a piece of paper. It's very misguided thinking. Having a degree simply means that you spent a few years studying and gained some knowledge, but knowledge without application is useless. There's this idea that the rich people of the world are corrupt criminals, that they get rich by screwing people over. Here's what I know to be true. Money doesn't make you a different person. Money only allows you to be more of who you already are at a core level, the sum of your beliefs. If you were a generous and giving person before money, then having money allows you to be even more generous than you were previously. If you were corrupt before money, then having more money allows you to be more corrupt on a grander scale. Money is nothing more than a tool, an energy. And yes, there are some very corrupt and wealthy people. It's a very small group. The wealthiest people in the world are actually the most giving people. More giving of their time, energy, and money. They're the ones making the biggest differences in the world. The less wealthy, those living in poverty or just above the poverty line, are actually the least giving people. They have this lack mentality that tells them to hold on to whatever they have. Don't give it away. They may give away a few dollars here and there, or may donate an hour or so of their time, but they aren't openly giving because there's a lack mentality telling them to hold on to whatever they have. They make the least difference in the world. There's this idea that no one can be trusted. We're always on defense, in survival mode and waiting to be attacked in some way. The media is paramount in shining a light on what they think we should believe in, who and what we should fear. Their job is to entertain and to keep us in fear. And if you question that, think about how many positive stories you hear on the news, in the media, and on social media. What is the ratio between positive and negative? We are taught to fear certain religions because of a handful of very misguided extremists. We are taught things like all Muslims are hateful people, they're all murderers, they can't be trusted. Think about the Christian faith for a moment. How many people show up every Sunday to church? How many of them are sitting in that church judging other people by what they're wearing, what they're driving, what they do for work, or how much money they put in that collection plate? How many are sitting in the confessional or talking to their pastor about their sins, and then after service they walk back out into the streets and immediately start committing more sins? Look back in history and tell me how many genocides were committed by the Christians and Catholic religions. We are taught things about sexual orientation, like it's a sin to be gay. That thought process was created purely by humans who then convinced humanity that it was the Creator's will. It was woven into early religions, but there are two problems with that. First, the angelic realm and all other dimensions, all energetic beings, are both masculine and feminine, the same as we are. There's no judgment of sexual orientation. Energies are accepted as they are and loved as they are, completely and wholly. Even the Creator is both masculine and feminine. And second, religion is a man-made creation. Human beings are spiritual, energetic beings. Religions exist nowhere else except here on this planet. No other spiritual being separates themselves from one another with these labels. Human beings have been here on this planet for millions of years, and religion was only introduced in the last 5,000 years. The first religion was Hinduism, followed by Buddhism, Islamic, and then Christianity, Judaism somewhere in there. And each religion had its own ascended masters teaching the exact same things. It just took a handful of human beings to misinterpret the message to begin separating humanity. We are not here to be separate from one another. We are far too judgmental of one another. On the surface, it really does look like the world is a harsh, hurtful, and unsafe place. That's the way it's portrayed to us. But there is also something deeper at work, and that something is you. We cannot possibly exist on this planet without understanding that everything is energy. And we've heard it many times that we're all connected. But the reality of that isn't fully understood. The magnetics of this planet has a purpose, a life purpose within it. That magnetic field is related to what you think of as consciousness. We've heard of this thing called the collective consciousness before, right? Because of this, individually, we can affect the entire humanity consciousness by what you start, by what you say, by what you think, and by what you feel. It's all energy. All energy combines, resonates, and vibrates at various frequencies. Where does your consciousness vibrate? Where does it settle? Does it settle in joy, fear, complaining, self-worth issues, victimization? Most people are sitting in an energy of survival. And the problem with that is that if you're going to deal with old energy and expect old energy, it will come to you because you're going to create it. Your expectations will be manifest, and you will have delivered whatever you ask for. Whatever you're worrying about, you're giving energy to, and that's what you're going to get. Thoughts and emotions are the most powerful energies of creation on this planet. Thoughts, as I've said before, are just bits of information that are taken in by the senses and then turned into a perception within the mind. It's a perception, not a truth. And perceptions are like these funhouse mirrors. They're constantly being altered by your state of mind and memory. What we see, we believe is truth because it's reflected back to us. That's our individual version of reality, but it's not actual reality. Because we're all sitting around creating perceptions of negativity on every level, we individually create more of it. It manifests into the world around us. Now, if you get a group of people putting out the same energy, it amplifies that energy and attracts more of the same energy to it. Imagine if a group of 50 million people around the world are sitting around putting out predominantly negative energy vibrations on a daily basis through their thoughts, their words, their feelings, and actions. How do you think that reflects back into what's being manifest? The way we're showing up in the world and the way we see others may be endangering our lives. It's distorted. We need more than our eyes to truly see. All we see is problems, and that's what we perceive is to blame. We can't see the surroundings. We can't see what's right in front of us anymore. We can't see that we've become so disconnected. We don't let anyone really see us. We spend more time looking for all the differences in one another than trying to see the similarities. Do you realize that once upon a time people used to live in close tribes? Now, we are lucky if we each have one close friend. Some people have no one to count on, no one to turn to. And social isolation increases our risk of death by 30%. We need to start showing up for each other. Look at each other and making connections. I'm sure you've heard the saying, as above, so below. The way it is above is how it's supposed to be down here. We talk about heaven as if it's a place that you can only obtain after death. But the reality is that we are here to create heaven on earth for one another. In the angelic realm, there is a hierarchy. Different levels of angels, each with different jobs to do, yet all working perfectly together towards a bigger mission. No job is more or less important than the other. Each is necessary for the whole. Do you think they sit there all day judging one another? Like, oh my God, Gabriel, look at her wings. I can't believe she showed up like that today. Or, you're just a cherubim. I'm an archangel. You're from the wrong side of the clouds, sister. You don't belong here. It's funny to think about, but it doesn't happen. The mission for all of humanity is to become an ascended master like above, to become more loving and compassionate, tolerant, patient, forgiving, understanding, and content. We are supposed to have each other's backs. Our job is to protect each other and make each other feel safe and secure, to feel love, to resonate love. The challenge for humanity is that the human mind has been conditioned from birth to think in logical ways, rational ways, and to look at commercial values. Spirit is not material. Individuals need to release prejudices and preconceived ideas. The mind is really good at making shit up. It's always in survival mode with its threat detectors running. 99% of our day is run on autopilot programming. We think we know other people, so we stop paying attention. We stop being fully present. We're living in our shadow selves. Now, here are the big 5 that each of us needs to eliminate from ourselves if we're to turn this thing around for ourselves, for our children, and for the planet. The first is fear. What are you afraid of? Human beings are so afraid of so many things that they're buried deep within their subconscious. Things they don't even know they're afraid of until they surface. But these fears run our lives. We carry things from the past that etch themselves in our behavior. Things that make us move out of the way when we see something coming that we don't like. That's fear. Does it change who we are or what we may or may not do in life? Yes. All of the fears that we carry around in our subconscious are based on past experiences. Think about the things that you avoid, the people you avoid. Do you know why you avoid them? What are some of the things that are unexplainable to you? We are born without fear. We actually only have 2 fears at birth, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. All other fears are programmed responses. So what do you fear and why? Why are you holding on to it? The second is ego. When you're with other people, what do you talk about? Do you just sit and listen and revel in the beauty of what the other person is saying? Or do you talk about what you're doing, how your life is going, how you've worked on yourself, your processes, your successes? That's a form of ego. You're proud of how much you've accomplished in the processing of yourself, or proud of how much different you are from others. You can't wait to tell other people about yourself. Many people will talk about themselves, whether others want to hear it or not. And that's ego. Trying to have a conversation with somebody without saying anything about yourself unless you're asked. Be proud of yourself, but you don't have to tell everyone how proud you are. Spirit knows and is proud. Isn't that good enough? The masters were the ones who sat at the feet of those who came to see them. They listened and talked and fed them and loved them. There was no pride or ego or competition. They were equal to every human being. There was no separation. The third is anger. What makes you angry? Why? What's the trigger? Why is that trigger there? Anger is a product of the past. You get angry because something triggered that anger. The thing that's in you that responds, that's information. You're programmed to react, and you respond emotionally. Masters didn't have triggers. They had disappointments. They were disappointed by war, inhumanity, and unbalance. No anger. You can be disappointed, but there should never be the rage chemistry. Rage chemistry is the stuff that makes the heart beat faster and the mind block itself. We need to reach a point where if someone were to stand in front of us and call us names or say something that we know is inaccurate, we just look at them in the eye and feel sorry for them that they're having a bad day and reacting emotionally. No anger. We need to see the God inside each human being and understand that we're all operating at different levels of consciousness. Nothing more, nothing less. Fourth is reaction. What do you react to? What triggers you? When someone says something about you and it's blatantly not true, whether it be because of their ignorance or their misunderstanding, do you react? Do you feel the need to set them straight and tell them the right way? How do you react when someone cuts you off in traffic? Reaction is an automatic response to a program in your personality that causes you to automatically defend. You may not agree with something that's being said, but why do you have to respond? Why do you have to defend something? It's another person's idea of you. It's not you. What's there to defend? You can be disappointed and compassionate and not react. Masters weren't flying off the handle at people over situations. They were completely at peace. And the fifth is judgment. Judgment is one of the biggest challenges for humanity. What are you in judgment of? When you view others, what do you see? What's your trigger? We make assumptions about other people and situations. We like to use the excuse, you don't understand. It's how I was taught. It's ingrained in me. I can't help the way I do certain things because that's how I am. If you believe it, then it's true for you. How do you see other people? Do you see everyone as equal? Do you see certain religions as wrong? Do you see certain races as wrong? Do you see different social status as wrong? What about sexual orientations? What's your judgment of people who do not believe what you believe? What about people of different ages or races dating each other? I do a lot of volunteer work with CAS, or Child Services, and they have an outreach house called Open Doors that's located in a lower income area of town. That they run programs for kids, teens, and adults. We run breakfast clubs, do clothing exchanges, homework clubs. We have fundraisers to help keep the house running for the entire community. We hold events like neighborhood barbecues. We run healthy relationship groups for teens, parenting groups for adults. We have adult connection for parents to sit around with one another, talk and connect. And there's so much more going on there. And this outreach house does a lot of good for a lot of different people. The community around it has transformed and become stronger because of the work that we do there. Yet, because this house is located within a lower income area, many people already have a preformed judgment about the people who live in the area and who attend. They assume that these people are lazy, drug addicts, sitting around on welfare, and are at these programs because they have CAS involvement. It's not the case. In this area, there are 30 family homes surrounding the program house. And of those homes, only 4 are in receipt of welfare for reasons beyond their control. 5 of the households are in receipt of disability, and the rest work outside the home. And of those who work, they work for minimum wage. Many are single-parent homes. Some of them work more than one job. The greater majority remain in the area because they can't afford to move with the rents being so high. But the outside environment has preconceived ideas of who these people are. If you cannot look at every human being as equal, even the ones you see as doing reprehensible crimes against humanity, then you have judgment. Yes, there are people who do some heinous things against others. Rape, murder. But like yourself, those people still have God inside them. They have free will, just as the rest of us. They choose their actions, just like the rest of us. It is not our place to judge them. Our job is to see God inside all human beings, and to understand that we are all operating at different levels of consciousness, to have love and compassion. What did the masters see when they looked at someone? They saw God inside, no matter what the situation, no matter where they are, no matter what the context. When we practice mastery of these 5 areas, we start to change from who we are to who we're to become. Doing that is going to change the entire planet through our energy vibration. So yes, one person can change the world, and it begins with you. The key to all of this is love. Love is a form of consciousness, not an emotion. The attributes of love are compassion, joy, and celebration. The more compassionate we can be towards another human being, the more love is then produced and spread on this planet. Compassion is to see God in another human being. Compassion is not pity, it's love. It's seeing the God in every human being and loving them for it unconditionally. Where are you going to vibrate? Are you going to see the beauty around you and in each other? That's God. Choose to vibrate in love and joy instead. Let your consciousness settle in love, joy, and laughter, because laughter is so infectious and contagious. How are you treating people? How are you going to show up in the world? The only thing that separates people is their thoughts. Start changing your thoughts. Start connecting. Start vibrating in love and joy. One person can change the world. Let that person be you. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, I invite you to share this episode with them. Invite them to join our family here. I'm on a mission to transform 1 billion lives around the planet, and I cannot do that without your help. I don't know how many subscribers one YouTube channel can hold, but if someone like PewDiePie can have over 10 million subscribers, then why can't a channel that's intended to raise humanity up have 1 billion? Help spread the word and change lives, one human being at a time. And if you have a topic that you would like me to discuss in greater detail, or something you want clarified, please tell me about it in the comments. I'm here to help you grow and evolve. Show me how I can do that for you. I wish you love, peace, joy, and laughter. Namaste.